All right, we're live, and I want to show. Okay, so one thing is, bam, and
Here it
you
is.
can't see that it's huge. I wish actually I should have another comic to show next to it, but it's huge, which is awesome. And
Yes.
that's something you've talked about. It's big format art, like European style. Um, and it's awesome. And then real quick, the other thing is Kickstarter took it down today
You
because we
did?
were gonna kind of do a final part of a final pimp because it's getting great word of mouth. So the idea being you could get lots of sales as it comes in, people talking about it, people can pick it up.
Right.
Kickstarter ruined that for you, those
They
books.
ruined it. They ruined it. It was like passive aggressive too. Angela, no, Angela. Oh, she lives. Amanda. Amanda's in the chat. She's great. She figured it out. I started fulfilling, and I made the mistake of letting Kickstarter know that I was starting the fulfillment, and that meant closing down. So Kickstarter closed it down once you start fulfilling. They have this thing in their terms of service. As soon as you start fulfilling, no more late pledges. So for some reason, they wanted me to like close down the late pledges. I kept getting these passive aggressive pop-ups every time I logged into Kickstarter. Like, are you fulfilling yet? What's going on, man? What's going
Weird.
on? What's
Yeah,
going
they
on,
should
bro?
change that policy because that's the whole
Right.
point is you want to
Right.
fulfill and then have opportunity for people to still be backing while you're fulfilling.
It is the most backwards thing. I don't know if we'll keep our options open. I'm trying to stay frosty about it, but it's definitely another massive check in the don't use Kickstarter again column. So,
I know. Yeah, there's like it's like pick your poison a little bit. Like
right, yes.
Indiegogo has its issues, Kickstarter
Right.
has its issues. Fund My Comic is great option. It also has some issues.
Right.
So any of those three, or like like I guess it's an option to kind of build your own. Some people do that, and that's pros and cons to that too. But
the killer argument with Kickstarter is that you can get like 20 to 40% of your audience just from organic traffic from Kickstarter. So that was our killer. I'm not even sure that we did. It's very hard to like parse the data. It's like organic Kickstarter, direct links from Kickstarter. I don't know how to like actually aggregate the traffic correctly to figure out how much Kickstarter actually brought us just by virtue of being Kickstarter. So
yeah,
even that isn't clear to me that we actually got that much like extra juice to our campaign from being on Kickstarter.
Yeah.
So
yeah, but I saw it was like at 15K or so when it ended, and then 17K. So like 2K from late pledges. Is that about what it was?
It's 2K from late pledges. I mean more like traffic that Kickstarter, just by virtue of being the biggest platform, people just go on to Kickstarter.
Yeah.
They know nothing about your product. Yeah.
So. That's why I kind of am going to try using it for Hotel Story.
Yeah, great. Hotel Story. I'm excited for that. I definitely want to talk about me. That's my favorite subject, but you were kind enough to give me an advance copy. You asked me for a quote, which I was delighted to do. I'm flattered to do that. I read it. Pear, I have the quote. Yeah, I can read it live for you right now.
Sure, yeah, let's do it.
Would that be exciting? Okay, let's go into it. Don't worry. Hotel Story. What is this? No, entirely positive. Okay, here we go. And I'll pare this down a little bit, but here we go. Hotel Story 2 is an exploding drag race scream of a story, but don't let that fool you. The mayhem is ruthlessly disciplined, and the characters always claw their way through. I have never seen someone as good with storytelling devices as Narwhal. Devices he gleefully bashes against the wall, which somehow only makes his tales all the stronger.
Hey, that's really nice. And obviously, the reason we asked you is because you carry like a lot more and more clout. I think as like a real like it means something if you give a compliment.
Do I have clout now? Oh my god!
Yeah, because partly because I mean like pretty much Band of the Crow being great and being a pretty like a successful campaign, obviously. So your clout will only grow. I will utilize your clout more and more.
Is that what you're saying? I could have charged you?
Jeez. Yeah, for the next one. First one's free.
Okay, that's right. Yeah, the first one's free.
We can kind of trade clout because I have a little from Mark Miller, so like that's what we'll do.
Nice. This is the way it's supposed to be. People are supposed to help each other. It doesn't always, work out that way, but sometimes it does. Sometimes it does. Yeah. Yeah, clout goblin totally.
Yeah, I appreciate that quote. That's fun. I'll share it with Jared too. He'll be stoked.
Oh, great. I love the art too. Seriously, I think you are a really gifted writer. You kind of get it. I think it's actually even rarer than being like a good artist. And you have both, so yeah, good stuff. Seriously.
Yeah, thanks.
Yeah.
Alex VRB says clout trade.
Nice. What's up, Alex? All right, all right.
Yeah.
And
Um.
when?
So yeah. So Band of the Crow. I called this thing the debrief. So like a couple
Nice.
things happened that were fun to watch as they're happening. One was the trailer exploded viral on YouTube.
Yes.
And how did that like? Do you have any data on how that like helped? Did it bring in a fair amount or?
No, again, we got like 4 backers from YouTube.
Oh wow!
I
Even
know.
though there's 30,000 views, you know.
There are actually, let me just check.
Or sorry, 300,000, or there might be more now, but yeah.
Yeah, it's 261,000 views right now. Yeah, and it brought in 4 backers, so that's great.
Oh man.
I know. But Orrin and I talked about it. I don't even really care about the backers. I just wanted to do it. I just don't care. I just don't care anymore. I just wanted to do it. It was outrageously expensive. I don't even want to like think about how much it cost, let alone talk about it. We just wanted to do it. And it feels like really, really affirmational, I guess, that it did so well.
Yeah.
I think we're doing something special with the Band of the Crow. And that's
Yeah. And it helps with, even if it doesn't directly lead to backers, it helps with the whole thing that, yeah, I'm sure there's definitely some, but you can read the comments and yeah, like 1 in 10 comments is like, what? It's not animation. It's just a comic. Well, good luck.
Totally. Right. I don't get it. This sucks. It's funny. Obviously I've learned to kind of like it, but Orrin and I've joked about this. There are different genres of negative comments that we sort of howl with laughter over.
Yeah. Cause you are even, that's awesome to have that many views, but that throws you into the fire or whatever.
Oh, it's so great. Actually, when we got our first negative comment on the trailer, I was like, Orrin, we have haters. People hate us.
Yeah. That is like a good first step of success is to get haters for sure.
Totally. No, but Orrin and I talked about it. It's like we look at it as like a magic key. It will just unlock doors for us. I don't know when, I don't know why, I don't know how, but at some point, somewhere down the line, it will pay dividends for us.
Because anyone, people backtracking to discover it, it only boosts the credit of the entire project.
Yeah, right. I mean, I'll show it to I have a manager in Hollywood. I don't know. I've never done anything for him. He's never done anything for me. But I don't know. Maybe this is it. I haven't contacted him yet about the Band of the Crow. I don't think if I sort of like self-cancel. But yeah, I don't know. What the hell? These are things that we can do. So yeah.
And it kind of starts. It's a good way to start from the beginning with such crazy production and professionalism. Rather than even doing that later or whatever.
And I told Aaron, Orrin spent like 9, it was very expensive for me. On the other hand, Orrin spent like 9 months of his life on that thing. So it was really intense. One of the things that we did from an art perspective was, okay, it's going to be limited animation. We can't do like a lot of there's one kind of big splashy action scene, but Orrin spent a lot of time on the backgrounds, especially. So that's kind of a fun thing you can kind of pause it and look at all the effort he put into the backgrounds.
Yeah. Had he done animation before? Because it's pretty sweet, the animation.
He had. Orrin is just like, I am very, very lucky. I've struggled a lot with the Band of the Crow, and that's fine. If that was a price in some cosmic way of meeting Orrin, then it was all.
Because we talked a little bit about this behind the scenes, but it was like a novel first, and it had its trouble there.
Yeah.
Then it had a first artist, and it had trouble there too.
Yeah.
And the Orrin's the third. So it's like many years.
Yeah.
But and that's cool. I mean, I'm glad it's finally kind of getting its due.
Thank you. It's great to have it come out. There's that line from Jesus. Hide. Don't hide your light under a bushel. It's just nice. It's nice to have it not be under a bushel anymore. Yeah.
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 And it was over 500 backers. Where is it at? Finally, was it like 600 or?
Yeah, not that I'm counting, but we had 587 backers, which is just the whole thing sucks about like Kickstarter closing it down. It's just like, because as we've seen with in-demand, you can make twice as right. I know, yeah, just like
and now it makes me like you're saying you might wait for part 2, and it's like it makes me just want to skip to the future to have that happen now.
Oh,
but what is here's a quick question about that is what is the timeline? Because I know that's one unfortunate thing about making comics is it does take time. But is it like early next year or like next spring or this fall or?
Because this is another thing. We actually planned in a lot of pad time, but we didn't expect the trailer to be either as expensive or as time consuming as it was. So that was 9 months of just not working on the comics. So we were we had it planned to be like ready to go a few months after book one, but that is way out the door now. Yeah, we're maybe shin deep in it. Orrin has about 15 or so pages drawn out of a total of about 60. He's got to color them himself too. So inshallah, by next year, we will have book two, at least a launch date by next year. Hopefully 2026 will be the year for book two.
Yeah, it will. Yeah, you can make it happen. That makes sense. But that is like, it's not like super fast, but that's, well, we're all waiting in anticipation, and we kind of want to see like, yeah, like you want to see those numbers go up.
Indeed. Indeed.
Yeah, because that's a thing. Like you've kind of done it kind of perfect, more or less. So then you're like, all right, like if for some reason they didn't go up, we'd all be like, what is the universe? Like what? We should all just give up then or whatever.
Right. And Orrin and I've steeled ourselves for that too. I mean, in comics, like if second issues, usually it's about half, you hemorrhage about half your viewers every issue. But eventually numbers will start to repair themselves. This is what happened to me with Rex Mundi. I was so sad. The original artist and I, it was just for like 13 issues, every single one, just like a radioactive isotope. Boo, half. Finally, we had an increase in sales for Rex Mundi for one issue. I was just like, oh my God, we had an increase in sales. And then the artist and I had a complete total catastrophic falling out. And like, I had to like stop Rex Mundi for like a year while I looked for a new artist. So that was not good.
Yeah. But that's funny. Yeah. So that's good. You've been through that, the psychological torture.
Yeah. I'm steeled for it. I mean, it could happen. Hopefully numbers will go up for the next campaign. I don't know. We're keeping our options open too. Maybe we'll find a publisher, something like that. I don't know. Orrin and I've talked about going to Franco-Belgian publishers. I know absolutely nothing about if they would even publish something like us. I speak like 3 words of French, but I don't know. We'll see what the future holds. Yeah,
that would suit it well. And it's kind of in that, they do albums and they do like 60 pages a year or whatever.
Right.
That's like Orrin's pace.
Right. Yeah, exactly. We're on, that was the intention, to do album format, kind of a bande dessinée style. So so we'll see what happens. And why not? That's what I've learned in my career. I just the worst someone can do is say no. I mean, every good thing that's ever happened to me in my life, it's just sort of like going up to someone and saying, hey man, hey bro, what's going on?
That's I feel that feels like cool to me and feels fitting and stuff. And I don't know, it feels like that's less like they wouldn't screw you. Maybe hopefully they would actually do their job.
Yeah, I mean, it's a much bigger industry. It's a much healthier industry. I don't think superhero comics have much of a future. I think it's kind of a niche market, has been for a long time. I think the Franco-Belgian comics industry is the most, God, I mean, those guys are like Jedis too. They are amazing. I mean, because they just have that I don't care attitude. Like, I don't care. No, Hollywood, I don't care.
Yeah.
They like it, that's okay. But if not, they can piece themselves. I don't care.
Yeah.
Don't care.
Not too much comes over, unless maybe if you look, they might be easy to find. But I wonder about that because I think I'm like, oh, I love Franco-Belgian stuff. And I'm like, well, what even is there? I'm like, I don't know, Tintin.
No, exactly. They do not care. They really, I mean, they are like, like really don't care. They are like suicide bombers or something like that. They are amazing. It's very French.
I've met a few Belgian artists. One is a video game designer.
Oh, cool.
And he's a genius. So I was like, I trust them as a country or whatever.
Yeah. It's funny. I went to France once. Actually, this is how I had the idea for Rex Mundi. But this was like 1999. It was like before Japanese animation really took off. I had an Akira t-shirt because I'm a cool, hip, countercultural kind of guy. So I was wearing my Akira t-shirt. The very first person I met in France, the customs officer, he said to me, oh, Akira, I know this one. I like this very much. He was in all this like weird like hentai tentacle porn stuff too. Like Urotsuki Doji, do you know that one? I like that very much. So anyways, I had this like great 20-minute conversation with the customs agent about like Japanese tentacle porn animation. Okay, enjoy your stay. And then
that's actually
streets,
that's a good sign for that country or whatever.
Right, exactly. Yeah, in the streets, people are like, oh, Akira, super cool, super cool. I was just like, oh, my people. Yeah.
Yeah, that's fun. So wait,
Yeah.
so one other thing about that's like noteworthy is it's kind of another like frustration with comics, but I think it's like everyone wants more, basically. You know what I mean? Like
Yeah.
this is something I finished it. I'm like, oh, I want more. Like,
Hmm.
but it's what is there is great, and
Thank you.
everyone needs to buy it. But
Right.
and it's like yeah, this individual scenes are great, and we'll get into a little bit more of it. But it's funny. It's just like that's kind of even true with my comics or
Yeah.
like
Yeah.
even Vatican City. It's like 3 issues. I think people can read all three in like 40 minutes or like
No,
50 minutes.
100%. And it's way better if someone say that they want more than being like, wow, that was long. I need a break. I need a
Yeah,
break.
yeah. It's
So
almost
yeah.
like the main criticism is just like, I want more. I'm like,
Right. Yeah. Which is like, we got more coming. I think people will see. I hope people will keep reading. I know that the pacing, I just have an idea about the pacing and the way that I want to tell a story. And I just think it's the right way to tell the story. This is part of the reason we're giving people, early backers are getting really, really good deals. I mean, we sold it for $12 a piece. So
yeah,
because we appreciate people taking a chance on it now. I know that I know. So have faith. Please have faith. There's more. It's all going to click eventually. I promise. I promise.
yeah.
Yeah.
Because it's still like kind of setting up, I guess. The big stuff hasn't kicked
It
in
has.
yet,
No,
right?
it has. Like, I mean,
But
I
no,
wish I
so
could talk
this is
about it,
one
but
thing
yeah.
actually I when I was reading it, it feels more like a novel. And that's the
Yeah.
best feeling I've had in a while reading a comic. Because
Yeah.
and I was
Yeah.
trying to think because if you try and explain it, it could sound weird. Like if like even like what I was just working on with Mark Miller,
Yeah.
it was like lightning fast. You know, sets up the conflict in 5 pages.
Right.
Blah blah blah. So fast paced. But then this is like it's a little more chill, but it's equally like fast paced in a way. Like every scene is snappy and
Yeah.
you're turning the pages. But it's like this is going to be a long story,
Right.
and so they're. But like even there's kind of one example to get this is like not exactly spoilers, but everyone just like we're talking about the plot a little
Yeah.
bit. But like he goes to do the maze, and that's a fun scene, and he doesn't make it, and so at that point in the story there's like a novelistic way to do it and like a comic-y plot way to do it or
Yeah.
whatever. And it's the novelistic way I like a lot more where it's kind of like, well, like lick, what do you say? Like dust yourself off, kid. Like there's another chance. Like, and they're like, well, what's now? He's like, well, I guess I got to go home now. So then
Right.
they go home and he's like, your fiance's here. You can meet her. So there's still like things happening. It gets a
Yeah.
little more slice of lifey,
Right.
but it doesn't have like, it's not like, well, since you lost, you have to go find the egg on the mountain now,
Right. It's
and
just like,
blah blah blah. Yeah,
right.
like
Now you have to start your hero's journey. Now it's just,
yeah, totally. It's nothing like that, which I was
right.
really enjoying.
Yeah.
Um, yeah,
Yeah.
and even like
Thank
it
you.
hints at like it's gonna be this even some like slice of life meeting his fiance. I'm like, I can't wait for that.
It's going to be, we have some, there's some good stuff coming in book two. I think, yeah. And thank you everyone for dealing with my pacing. I know the pacing is non-standard. I know it's non-standard for comics. This is not something I'm doing this stuff advisedly. I mean, maybe ill-advisedly, but this is just based on the way that I want to tell the story. I really think it's the right way to bring the
Yeah,
story to
and
life.
you've
So,
done tons of comics and
yeah,
been a pro writer for 20 years or
yeah,
longer. So yeah, you get to bring your kind of vision of how you want to do it. You're doing that visually too, like with the big format
yeah,
and yeah, holding out to have the perfect collaboration with Orin.
yeah,
Um, so a lot of that is coming out, and part of that too is like the way it's fun to see like your vision on the page is with the world building, and that's
yeah,
one thing I kind of wanted to talk to you about because this is again, it's like it's not like world building as far as like I didn't even know where it's like, here's, your audience surrogate who gets everything explained to them. And here's
yeah,
the
right.
guy who's the encyclopedia going down telling everyone. And that's not even like the worst, but you don't do
Right.
that. But you just kind of get a feeling that, damn, this world, like, for example, there's a religion in the story. And that's something too, like, it's like,
Yeah.
did the writer like think of this religion in 10 minutes? or did he think of it in like 5 years?
Right.
And it feels way more like five
Yeah.
years. And it just kind of leads to, there's one specific example I liked. Well, there's a couple little
Yeah.
things, but
Yeah.
there's one, and it's, see if I can find the page. Dun, dun, dun. But there's a word that you use, and I'm glad I read it twice because I got part two. So I
Oh.
was like, I reread the first issue, the
Mhm.
preview then. And it was pretty much just one thing I kind of picked up, but
Mm.
it was, they have this word. Oh yeah, so it's Maleth on
Oh yeah.
Costa.
Yeah.
And then her husband, they say his name is like it's Mal something. It has a
Yeah.
different post text or whatever.
Yeah. Yeah. Mile Morin. Yeah.
Yeah. So
Mile
like there,
Morin.
it's like a gendered. I was like, oh, this is like
Right.
a gendered word, and
Right.
it's like a rank,
Right.
possibly religious related.
Right.
So like from a romantic language or whatever.
Yeah. Right.
And I'm
Right.
like, did you make that up, or is that like you pulled that from somewhere?
I did. I got it. Actually, it's I did a lot of, research. I don't know, like linguistics. I think linguistics really interests me. I think linguistics is the fantasy, as like physics is the science fiction. Just like if you're the kind of person that's into linguistics and historical linguistics, you probably like fantasy. So I looked at a lot of Celtic languages. Mainly, I researched. I read a lot of Celtic myths, which very interesting. Didn't survive as well as like Norse mythology or like Greco-Roman mythology.
Yeah,
But
I did a little research with some of that. And
yeah,
you know way more than me, but I know the Celtic stuff is like weirder kind of.
it's super. Man, it is so weird. Like it like doesn't even make sense to be
Yeah,
honest.
yeah. Like it's not like
what is
story
going on here?
structure the
Right.
way that's why Norse did survive, because it is like
Yeah,
comic
that's
book
right.
or whatever.
Because of Iceland, it survived because of Iceland. That was all written down, and if not for that, it would not have survived. Yeah.
Oh,
Yeah.
cool.
And there are weird things like they were already thoroughly Christianized by the time they wrote down the Irish myths. So like these weird things, like they start riding this woman like a horse.
Yeah.
That's weird because originally she was a shape-shifting god, like a horse god. But like it's not explained in the story, so they just start like riding her like a horse all of a sudden. It's just like,
Yeah. And they take that
okay,
part out because they're
right.
Christianizing it or
Right,
whatever.
exactly. It's just like,
Yeah.
okay, yeah, Pono or
Yeah.
something like that. Anyway, yeah. So the word mile, yeah, but that I did a lot of work on constructed languages. I like to be very, 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 very sparing with world building. It's like, like Bruce Lee said, like, learning how to fight is about learning how not to fight. That is how I feel about world building. I do a lot of work on the world building so that I can not share it with people, just not share it with them.
Yeah.
So
yeah, I kind of get that feeling, and I love it. And you said something in a previous talk we had too, where you had in a very early iteration of the story, you had all the world building, and it was kind of, you can correct me or you can add on.
Yeah,
this,
that's right. Mm-hmm.
It was kind of paralyzing you, and your solution was to destroy the world and start the story there.
Right.
I love that actually, but yeah.
Yeah. It's funny. It came, obviously it borrows from Norse mythology, obviously a lot of the sort of backstory of the Band of the Crow, but I was actually reading it in Celtic mythology too. There's all this mythology about giants. I was reading about, I think, Finn McCool, like a Cornish giant, or like an Irish or Cornish giant named Finn McCool. Oh no. Oh God. Cairna. What is anyways, there's a Cornish giant also. Finn McCool is Irish. Anyways, there's all these giants living on islands in Celtic mythology. So I just had this idea. I'll never forget. I was on a commuter train going into Boston to meet some of my in-laws. And I just had this. There was like an atom bomb going off in my head. What if giants killed everybody? What if they just fucking killed? Well, pardon my French. What if they just killed everybody? I could just get rid of all this garbage world building I'm doing. I could just completely get rid of it. It was just totally liberating. Yeah.
And that's funny because that feels like kind of authentic too, because that's what they would do. They would
right. Right.
Finn McCool, I'm pretty sure
Finn McCool.
I've been to an Irish bar called Finn McCool.
Oh, cool. It's a giant.
I think it's in Portland, I think.
Okay, yeah. Cormoran. Cormoran is the name of the Cornish giant. So, yeah.
Yeah.
And there are others as well. So, yeah.
Yeah, cool.
Yeah.
So lots of research, Celtic research. Oh,
yeah.
What about it's like a goddess-based religion in your book? Is that like pulled from anything or inspiration? Because that's another thing I really liked because it's kind of outside the box a little bit.
Mm,
I was like, obviously, I know there's female gods in a lot of religions, but
yeah.
I don't know. Like Christianity, Judaism, Islam, none of them are like that, you know.
Right. Yeah. Obviously interested in actually with Saint Bridget. There's this Celtic. Again, this is just fascinating to me. There's this Celtic goddess, uh, Bridget or Brigid, and now she's a saint. And they have a well. They were like associated with Celtic gods are associated with like actually a lot like Japanese Shintoism. They're associated with like springs or pools or like groves or glades or whatever. So there's this spring. There's this freshwater spring in Ireland. It's the spring of the goddess Brigid, but now it's dedicated to the Christian saint, Saint Bridget. So, oh, it's so beautiful. It's so beautiful. Yeah. So it came from that. Obviously Mary, there's a pretty strong Catholic feeling to the religion, but also from like Celtic goddesses like Morgan or Bridget. I'm not trying to be political about it. Also, I don't really like it when people have like a feminist reinterpretation of Arthurian myth or whatever. To me, that's just
It's just I kind of got that feeling too that it doesn't feel feminist. Right. They're like, God's actually a woman.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah. Right. Exactly. That's not the point. We're not trying to make political statements like that. I mean, if someone else wants to do that, that's probably not the story for me to either write or even like read. But if someone else wants to do it, that's fine. It's just not really not really the point. It's not what we're doing.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
So when the main guy, I should know his name, but I don't know his name. Do you know?
Therial.
Yeah. He goes to do like the trial.
Yeah.
And that's where part one kind of ends. The trial's going to start.
Yeah.
So that's kind of a fun thing because you have some anticipation. Everyone inevitably kind of has their ideas of what it might be.
Yeah.
And it's fun that I don't think it's what anyone would have guessed, but it is great what does happen. And it's kind of a trial within a trial. He kind of he meets this like trickster kind of thing or whatever. Yeah. And I love that scene. Is that like any kind of thing that pulled that, I don't know, research that's from?
Yeah. Actually, I was reading about elves. This is one of the things that I wanted to do with the story was actually go back to the source. Like, what is an elf? You think of an elf, they're kind of like wearing green leather and they have a bow and they're sort of arguing with the dwarf. They're not really like that in Norse mythology. It's just not really like that. So going back to the source, and there's like different kinds of elves too. There are elves and there are dark elves. And actually, it's not really clear that there's not a clear distinction between like a dwarf and an elf or a gnome in Norse mythology. So going back to the original stories about the elves, also the elves aren't really like, they're weird. They're just like, you don't really want to meet an elf. There's one book in particular. Yeah, here, this book in particular was really.
No, you told me to buy that. I bought it and I've been reading it. And it's
Isn't it amazing?
It's like you say, it's that it's always bad to meet him, but it doesn't mean you're going to die. Right. But it's just like, you just like do what they say and try and get out of there or whatever.
Yeah.
Like there's one, it's a guy, he gets called, he has to ref their game. And they don't even explain if it's like soccer, but it's kind of like or rugby. It's like rugby.
Oh yeah, it's hurling. Yeah, that's right. Yeah, it's hurling. That's the name of the sport. That's the sport of the she. Yeah.
Yeah, and he's deciding whether he wants to blow the whistle to end the game early to leave it as a tie, and he decides to do that, and it ends up being a good decision.
Right.
And they thank him for a good experience and let him go.
Right. He's kind of like,
yeah, and they don't. Right. They never say like you got to do a good job reffing or we're going to kill you. That is just, it's just implied. Like you just don't want to like do the wrong thing around these people or whatever.
Right. Right. Yeah. Exactly. So you're right. It's called the she. That's what banshee means. It means female fairy. So they're called elves or fairies in Irish mythology, but it's not like Tinkerbell. Right. They're terrifying. So those are our elves. People call them darklings. Yeah. Trolls call them elves.
That's kind of another one where the world building is only hinted at, but it feels very rich and fun. Like, oh, there's this like shadow world or another race that's kind of pulling them. And it's not even like 100% clear if it's like, it's a super bad deal. It might not be that bad if you go, and then maybe that's what happened to his dad, like all these kind of.
Right. It's not clear what happened. And, some of these questions will be answered, some won't. But to me, that's the best world building. I think if someone can present something with enough confidence, you don't really need or even want to have it explained. It feels like it has weight to it. To me, that's the best kind of world building.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. What
Don't
were you
explain
saying? The editor that you worked with that said something about magic, and you said it shouldn't be like a video game.
Yeah,
And
that's right. That's right. I mean, I'm interested in like in some ways, magic is like video game magic in the Band of the Crow. In some ways, it's not. In some ways, it's not. Yeah,
yeah,
but
and
that's
I've
like
heard
magic,
that.
right? Yeah, like system. I'm sorry. Go.
Oh yeah, I've heard people call it hard or soft systems.
Yeah,
yeah.
I kind of don't like that distinction either. I just sort of like. I mean,
Yeah.
yes, it can be scientific. I think that's. I don't know. I guess I would use the terms like scientific or alchemical kind of forms of magic versus like.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But it is cool with the magic when it's because there's like pros and cons, but the softer whatever when it's more you don't quite know exactly what's going on. There's kind of a sense of awe. That is really cool.
Yeah, right. To me, that's kind of I don't know, not real magic, but it should be mysterious. And in the Band of the Crow, they have scientific understanding of magic, and like the theories work. They produce magic with it, but I try to make it clear that there's something else beyond it, which is going to remain forever ineffable and unknown,
Yeah.
and unknowable.
Yeah.
So right. So the magic that people have and that they know about it's a form of magic that they know and they understand and that they've systematized in their own way. But there might be other ways to do it too. Yeah. Yeah.
Student of God's here, and his name is just ha ha ha.
What is up?
Which is a reference to the Shadow. I guess that's the Shadow tagline.
Cool.
I didn't know that. But
I love this. There was a great movie. I think like Alec Baldwin was in it. It was a great movie.
Yeah, I kind of want to rewatch it. Yeah, it's been.
I remember liking it. Yeah.
But yeah, Student of God saying people like this comic. This is another thing. I don't know if we've fully covered this yet, but
yeah,
the word of mouth is really strong.
Good.
And it's the kind of thing where it's like that's what everyone hinges a lot of their hopes on is that word of mouth helps. And I think it does, but we kind of really want to see this do better and better. We're all like rooting for it.
I appreciate it. Thank you.
Because you kind of just want word of mouth to work too. We want power. Like as
Right.
like readers, we want to be able to say what we like and then other people give it a shot or whatever.
I truly more powerful than atom bombs, more powerful than algorithms or AI, word of mouth. I really, really, really believe that. I think
that's the way it was in the 80s too, you know.
Right.
Like,
That's right.
Word of mouth.
That's right.
Yeah.
Everything else is fake. We hired some like marketing consultants. They're worthless, just fake, worthless, phony, fakey, fake, worthless losers. At the end of the day, people will decide whether or not they like it. And that's the only judgment I care about. So I really appreciate that. Thank you, everyone who said something nice about it. Sincerely. It means a lot to me. Yeah. And Oren too.
And the target audience is interesting too, though, because just the fact that you have Oren as the artist, that makes the target audience pretty big. Like it's almost like mainstream. Like it could get published in I feel like anywhere you wanted to would like have a chance or whatever.
I am ruthless about like being frugal and like cutting costs with everything but Oren. Like I tell him this, if he left tomorrow, his interest in the story, the fact that he devotes his time to the Band of the Crow is the most powerful affirmation I could possibly have. The most powerful. If he left tomorrow, I would consider myself well served by him. But at the same time, I am just incredibly fortunate to have him. And I want him to know that I feel that way. And I want him to feel like it's the right project for him. So
that's cool. Yeah, it is a good team, and it was fate that you guys found each other.
It really feels like kismet. It was kind of amazing. Yeah, I am profoundly grateful to him. And like, yeah. He's an interesting person to talk about a Jedi. He just like, I don't think, sort of like the Franco-Belgian guys. I don't think they understand how talented. I don't think they. I think they know. They just don't care. I think Oren's the same way. He just, I don't care. I don't care.
And so the other thing as far as the audience goes, it's the book, it's fantasy, but it's kind of this kind of cool, well researched pre-Lord of the Rings fantasy is kind of part of it, like bringing back the Celtic influence. And then kind of a little, you can, like you mentioned, it's in the vein of Lord of the Rings in some ways too.
Yeah, definitely. I mean,
marketing wise.
Right. You can't avoid Lord of the Rings. I mean, you just can't. It's like trying to, I don't know.
I was, I
So
wonder if Lord of the Rings is, like, over talked about, but I don't talk about it too much, and I haven't watched the movies in a while, but it'll
yeah,
come up, and one of the things that came up is, like, kinda how fun the hobbits are, because the hobbits, again, it's that thing, it separates it from, like, "Ooh, badass, now we do this, now we
right,
go do this, now we do th," and the hobbits are just like, "Potatoes, boil them, mash them,
right.
put them in a
Oh,
stew."
I want some potatoes. I wish we were back home. No, it's a beautiful thing. It's a beautiful thing. Actually, of all my, I think The Hobbit's probably my favorite of all of the Lord of the Rings books. I just reread that too. Fascinating to read it because the kind of chronology is he wrote the Silmarillion like in World War I, and then
Mhm.
like 20 years later he wrote The Hobbit. I don't think he, in fact, I know for a fact now, having reread The Hobbit, he did not know that The Hobbit was going to be tied to the Silmarillion when he started writing it. But by the time they meet the Elven King in The Hobbit, it has switched over and become Lord of the Rings. He fused the two things together, kind of as he was writing it. It is the most amazing thing. The most
Cool.
amazing thing. Yeah.
Yeah, I wanna reread that one, because that
Yeah.
one's, is it more episodic and kind of fun and weird? It's not even like, I
Yes.
don't know.
That's
Okay.
right. And it starts out like he actually uses a metaphor of a locomotive at first. It's not even clear that you're in a fantasy world at first. It's like, okay, there's a hobbit underground, but there might be train stations somewhere. Or like he specifically describes Bilbo has a red lampshade
Yeah.
in his hobbit hole somewhere, almost like he has an electric light or something like that.
Yeah, yeah.
It's totally fascinating. It starts out that way, like you said, and it starts out very episodic. It starts out very much like a fairy tale. And the trolls, actually, first he meets the trolls. The trolls are total fairy tale trolls. They turn into stone, and it's pure fairy tale. Then they meet the goblins. The goblins are a little less. There's like a goblin king, and there's kind of a history to them. So it starts to change a little bit with the goblins. And then again, by the time they meet the wood elves, the wood elves are like pure Lord of the Rings. They are like they have a history. They have like a lineage of 7 dynasties of the kings, and the whole works.
Yeah, that's
The whole
awesome.
works. Yeah, yeah.
That's fun to hear you talk about. It's pumping me up. I got,
Oh, cool. Yeah. Yeah. It's great. It's Tolkien is great. I love Tolkien, but I think it's possible to put him on a pedestal too. It's not perfect. Um, I think we're allowed to recognize some of the deficiencies and the fault. And it just endears it to me more, actually. I think Lord of the Rings doesn't succeed despite its faults. It almost succeeds because of them. So yeah.
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 Death Metal Hero loved it. Only read the
Oh,
preview. Yeah, so
oh,
now, unfortunately, the
yeah.
both versions, or the 2 issues, is not available, but
Right.
they'll figure out something. It might be next year for part
Yeah. We'll
3
get it back.
and
I'll get you a copy
4.
too, Luke. Yeah. Yeah. You've
Yeah.
definitely earned it. If you didn't have a chance to back it, let me know.
Yeah.
Yeah, 100. Hosier, perfectly said. Perfectly said. That is so perfectly said. It has a very Victorian feeling to it. I'm gonna have to steal that. I like
Yeah.
that. Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah,
Cool. Well,
yeah.
yeah, I don't know. I'm sort of out of questions. What else should
Oh,
we talk about?
should we talk about you because you're doing exciting stuff? Let's talk about you, Pear. I mean, um, you've got this campaign going. You're selling original art. I think the art from Vatican City is looking fantastic. I haven't had a chance to pick it up yet, but I am going to. Um,
Oh yeah, you're
I'm
thinking
just
about
really
getting one?
amazed and impressed by what you're doing. So why don't we talk about you?
Yeah, cool. I don't pressure my friends to do it, so don't worry about if you don't want to grab
I
a
actually I would like to. I'd love to know what working with Mark Miller was like. Like I know we've talked a little bit sort of behind the scenes. I think he's shown a lot of backbone and a lot of integrity, standing up to some of the ugly and tendentious politics that have infected everything. So
Yeah.
I am sincerely impressed by him. He didn't have to do that, and he did.
Yeah. Yeah,
Um,
he was like kind of cool independently of the fact that he hired me and gave me a shot. He was a really kind of cool guy. And that could be one of the reasons why he
yeah,
was open to the idea of working with me, pulling me out of the
right.
crowdfunding and giving me a shot. And
Yeah,
it
which
has
which is
been
well
going.
deserved. Perry, you are such a fantastic writer. When I was reading, what was it? I think it was Earthbound. I started reading it. I started, sometimes you read independent comics, you're a little bit like, okay, okay, I got to read this now. I got it. It's been on my desk. It's been on my bedside table for like, I got to do it. Got to do it. So that was Earthbound, and I was just like, I read it. Okay, and then as it turned page, it was just like, oh my god, he can write. Wow, this is great.
Thanks.
Seriously,
Yeah,
yeah.
Earthbound is like, it's fun. Like, even writing is weird with comics sometimes because it's not like it has amazing dialogue or anything, but it has pretty good like scene to scene narrative drive and structure is okay. And
No, definitely. And also, okay, the dialogue isn't, it doesn't call it, here's what I would say. You have enough confidence as a writer to write the dialogue without calling attention to itself. You're not constantly like jabbing the reader, say, see how smart I am? See?
Yeah.
Hey, look at me. Look at me. I'm a smart, clever writer. See how edgy I am? You don't do that. You really let the story tell it on itself. And it just shows a lot of self-confidence. I mean, that takes a lot of self-confidence as a writer.
Yeah.
So good.
Thanks.
Yeah. What else about you? I love how you take kind of like they're very like brute force in the best way possible, brute force storytelling kind of tactics, like the guns in Earthbound that change people onto their sides. Or there's a great thing at spoiler alert in Hotel Story 2, which is great about this like mirror that lets people go through and things like that. But and anyway, there are these kind of brute force storytelling tactics, which are just which are as brilliant as they are brutal. And then you take them and you kind of evolve them and you kind of logically think it through. And you take each one of those little tactics and you just really just go absolutely crazy with them. I just think.
Oh, thanks. That's like my number one thing I like to do. That's like my style. I think is like, think of a like rule. You could call it a hard system.
Yeah,
but
right.
It has to play out in a way that you or the audience wouldn't guess.
Right.
And those two things make it really fun a lot.
No, it's great. And in some ways it's a soft system too. That's why I just like, I just don't know how to make that distinction between hard and soft, because you're not trying to explain how the technology of the guns work. I mean, it is pretty mysterious at the end of the day. And it doesn't really matter to the story either, but yeah.
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 Well, yeah, it's funny because Percival's like that too. It's like the Grail heals people. And what are the fun ways that we can play with the Grail?
Yeah.
Like I have one idea that I think I'm going to find a way to work it in, but it's like a kind of important guy. He chokes on a special fish that had been prepared. Like they were going to eat like a sushi meal. He chokes on this fish and they save him with the Grail, but then the fish is alive in his stomach.
Oh, cool.
And then so there's, because the fish gets brought back too. And so
cool.
then they need to like, for some reason, this is where I have to figure it out, but they want to get the fish out with it still alive because it's like
classic pair. Do you know about the salmon of knowledge? This is in Norse mythology and it's in Celtic mythology too. I think it's Cú Chulainn and the salmon of knowledge. Check it out. Just check it out. It's a great story. I think you'll like it. You'll be able to work it in a really fun
yeah. I'll have to read that because that sounds like right up the alley. It would be good if there's something to affirm that a fish is cool or whatever.
Yeah, it's just like it's in both the Volsung saga and I think it's Cú Chulainn, but basically in both stories there's like a sacred fish which grants you wisdom and knowledge, and like an evil character is trying to eat it, but the innocent young Sigurd or the young Cú Chulainn or whatever tests it to see if it's done and burns himself and takes a taste, and the knowledge is transferred to them instead. It's a very kind of a narwhal kind of a storytelling tactic, actually.
Yeah, that's awesome. Yeah. And that could help with like, because it's a little bit, and I might have to like abandon it if I can't find a good answer, but it's like, why would they want to save the fish if it's in his stomach? It's like the prince thinks it's a special fish, he really likes it, or the guy wasn't supposed to eat it in the first place, they can get it out.
Yeah.
I don't know, but
well, it's also maybe it's a god, maybe it's some kind of like weird pagan Celtic god, like, but they can't admit that it's a pagan god. So they're in this like weird thing where they like, it's a little embarrassing for them. The fish, this is from a long time ago. It's before, it's before Jesus. So I don't know. You can do that in a fun way. Like it's a Celtic god that's still around, but they're like not allowed to acknowledge that it's a god anymore. So it's just a talking fish now. It's just like, what? Why is the fish talk? I don't know. That could be really cool, pair. Yeah.
Some fat guy ate it and choked, and we saved him, but the fish is still alive. Now we got to get him to like a special. That's like they got to traffic him to like the temple or whatever. And
that'd be really cool. Also, it reminds me of like the Cat in the Hat. How the fish is like the voice of reason. He's like the conscience of the kids. But it's always great because the fish is always like tumbling down into like a teapot or a bowl. Like, how do you get a fish? Like it needs water. So it's like, I don't know. That could be really fun.
Yeah.
Too. A fun scene. So Red Earth Bound. I thought, okay, awesome. This is great. Beautiful. Then I read Grand Prix. It was just like, it's such a brilliant change of tone and pace and everything. Like, I almost can't believe it's related to Earthbound. That's why I said if you could make this, I don't know, part of a Narwhal verse or something like that. Maybe it's not. I don't know. Maybe this is a different story. Maybe it's not. But I thought that was incredibly impressive. Grand Prix is just such a wildly different story from Earthbound. But my God, it works. My God, it works.
Thanks. That was one of the first like compliments you gave me, so I know you mean it. But that was nice that you said that, because that's something I was conscious of too, I think.
Yeah, it was great. And again, there's like a great thing about rings. Again, it's just this brute force. If anyone else did it, it would feel too I don't know. I couldn't do it. It would feel like in the same way that like I can't wear like, I don't know, like rapper clothes or whatever. It would just look fake. But like some people pull it off. It looks great. I just, more power to them. If I tried to like do those kinds of tactics, it would be fake and phony, but you just get away with it. It's just, it's awesome.
Yeah. I think like jumping into it kind of earnestly or whatever, and then definitely doing the misdirection. Those, if you do both those things, then people kind of forgive it.
Definitely.
Definitely.
It's great sci-fi too. It's very, I don't know. It's just great sci-fi that you don't see sci-fi like really, I guess I would say high concept. It's very hard, high concept sci-fi, but it's really fun too.
There's in Grand Prix that it plays with it even more. So I can't wait to get more episodes out. But like, and I think there's one like thing I will tell people. There's like a cool scene where the girl, she has a ring, and I think maybe she doesn't have a ring, but then she's interrogating a guy and he's like, bitch, I have a ring, so just kill me. I'm not going to tell you shit. And because he has a poison pill in his mouth. So he has a ring and a poison pill. And he's like, I'll just bite down on this. You're not going to get anything. And she starts making out with them. And then it goes to a short story of their tongues and the poison pill. Like,
oh, cool. That's so cool.
And then
like
they quit.
Dueling tongues.
Yeah. And then they kind of quit kissing, and then she spits out the poison pill. So she stunned him with a quick kiss. Got the poison pill.
Feminine one. That's so cool. That's
Cool.
And
then so then he kind of does have to talk or something.
Like there's a great scene from Twin Peaks. Audrey, the hotel owner, I forgot his name. But she eats a cherry with the stem attached, and just sort of slides it out of her mouth, and it's been like twisted into a pretzel.
Yeah, that's awesome.
Yeah. So Grand Prix, good. So you've got a campaign running now too, right? You're selling original art. You're doing gangbusters too. You've made you're in 5 figures now, right?
Yeah.
That's great.
Yeah. That's been going pretty good. Yeah. We sold a quarter of the pages.
That is awesome.
It's been a little interesting data of what sells too. Like the lore, it's all everyone's favorite pages that you kind of know when the book comes out, and then those end up being the ones that sell.
Yeah.
But like the lore, there's lore pages in issue 2 that aren't exactly part of the story. They aren't that important. And I kind of had some freedom with them. It's like, it's just a cool backstory for the vampires, make it look cool. The script didn't exactly say that, but that was kind of the idea.
Yeah.
And those pages both sold like right away for a premium. And I was like, oh, that's kind of interesting that badass lore pages, everyone loves them.
Yeah, it's funny, but I think that's great art too. I'm glad you did that. I think it's great when comics just sort of stop. There's not like a point to it. Everything has to be so functional and serve the story and serve the narrative. No, I say stop and slow down and take time on pages like that. And lo and behold, you did it and it worked. I mean, what better proof could there be that those pages were successful than the fact that people wanted to buy them? Yeah.
And the one page too, the splash page from issue 2, it's of like the big like executioner guy with a mask and like a big whatever. Mark, on that page, there's no writing whatsoever. And I'm like, I don't know if I've seen that on a splash. Like usually they'll add a little narration or, but it's like, no, he just wanted like just the art, and then the story resumes after that page.
Good for him. I mean, that's another thing. That's how I write too. I just like, you got to have like words on every page, or the page flows too quickly. Just like, I strongly disagree. I mean, yeah, most of the time, but I think there are times when you can have a page without any dialogue. You could have multiple pages without dialogue. I mean, if someone's reading comics, they have the patience and I don't know.
Yeah.
The
I
ability to
agree
sit
too. Yeah.
down and just visualize it. Yeah,
I kind of had to
exactly.
see him do it to relearn that, to be like,
Yeah,
"Oh yeah,
yeah,
that's kind of awesome."
yeah.
And yeah, it's on the reader to be like, "Hey, slow down or enjoy the
Right,
art." And they can do
right.
that like so.
No, exactly. You see this all the time. Like I love Italian movies, but they're weird. Everything is dubbed. It's weird. It's just you have to acclimatize yourself to it. Or like I don't know, death
Yeah.
metal. It's like you're listening to death metal now. So
Yeah. I know Italian movies too. Yeah, I have seen like all the giallos and they're all great. But yeah, you
yeah,
have to get used to the whatever. Their
definitely.
mouths don't line up
Yeah.
perfectly.
I was watching a lot like last this Halloween. I was watching a lot of Giallo. I watched Blood and Black Lace by Mario Bava. Have you ever seen that one? It's
Yeah.
really good.
That is that the one with they're like a modeling school and they
Yeah.
sell drugs and stuff and
Yeah. Yeah.
yeah,
Yeah.
that one's really good. That I
Oh,
think timeline wise that one's really early too.
I think it is. Yeah. Oh, so good.
But
But I was watching so many, I started getting like serious nightmares from it. Like I started having like paranoid fantasies about like doors opening and like people with trench
yeah.
coats and knives. Just I had to like, whoa, dude, I gotta
Yeah,
chill
yeah.
out on this, bro. Yeah.
They
It
have
was
they have like pretty fun plots, a lot of them.
oh, they're so good. Oh, they're just so good. Oh, so good. I love Dario Argento. What's that
Yeah.
one? The Bird with the Crystal Plumage. I just love that movie. I just love
Yeah.
that movie.
That
Yeah,
one's awesome.
yeah. Um,
Yeah, there's a lady who runs an account called like Italian Horror or
oh,
something.
nice.
I follow her and I DM her once in a while, but I
Oh,
think
cool.
I kind of went through almost all of them, so I've kind of moved on.
Oh,
But
really?
that was
Okay.
a
I
fun
know.
phase of my
Right.
life.
Yeah, 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 yeah,
Wh- wh-
yeah.
And I mean, the Italians they're so good, but the
Oh,
freaking Italian westerns, it's not just Sergio Leone. Like they're all good.
right.
If
Yeah.
uh,
Oh, there's a oh god, I forget the director's name. It's called La Città Violenta, The Violent City. It's a Charles Bronson movie. It's one of my favorite movies.
oh,
Sergio
cool,
Salima, I think that's the director.
cool,
It's not a spaghetti western, but it's a very like Italian 1970s kind of like action movie. Charles Bronson is in it. It's so good. It's such a good action movie. It's
cool. I
awesome.
want to watch that. I might
Oh,
try and watch that soon
you
because
know,
that's one I haven't seen.
yeah, there's a great scene where there's like a NASCAR. It's like in the 1960s or 70s, and there's like a like NASCAR race or whatever. And it's great because like it almost becomes in New Orleans. It becomes almost like a documentary for part of the movie. It's just beautiful. There's all this like location footage of this like NASCAR event in New Orleans in the 1960s. And like because he's Italian, you can just see he's like, wow, this is fascinating. We don't have anything like this
Yeah,
in Italy.
that's
So it's
cool.
just yeah, it's great. It's
I
great.
heard like if it's for like people for filmmakers shooting New York City, this is like slightly different, but
Yeah.
it kind of relates to what you're saying. But the best that I've ever seen, and I kind of agree with this, but people would say this is it's Midnight Cowboy is like the best New York City's
Yeah.
ever been filmed,
Yeah.
and that's in it. That's a European
Yes.
and
That's
he
right.
hadn't spent that much time in New York, and
Yeah.
it's like he sees it with fresh eyes, so he
Right.
sees like the what like the extremes or whatever,
Yeah.
pop out to him,
Yeah.
and that
Um,
let him like see it the way makes that the movie, and it's pretty
yeah.
sweet.
The the two other New York movies, it's Stanley Kubrick's first movie. I forget what it's called, but it's all shot on location in New York City. There is some amazing footage of like Times Square from the 1950s, like before it was corporatized. There were
Is
these
that The
dance
Killing or
yeah,
is it
I
something
think
else?
it is The Killing. I think it
Okay,
is. There were these
The
like
Killing's
dance
awesome.
parlors. Yeah, there's great. There was, like in Times Square, there were these dance parlors, and you could it's just a show men like attention starved men. You could go to these dance halls, and for 10 cents, you could dance with a woman for a
Yeah,
song. It was this weird thing, but it's just great like location shooting. Yeah. The other one is After Hours by Scorsese.
Scorsese.
Ah, it's one of my
Yeah,
favorite Martin Scorsese movies. It's such
yeah.
a good movie. It's really weird. It's really,
Yeah,
really weird.
I love that movie, and I didn't know about it. I saw it for the first time last year, and it still is kind of blowing my mind thinking about it. I really love
Yeah.
that movie.
Oh, I just Rebecca Day. No, who is it? Rebecca Rosanna Arquette is in it or
Yeah,
something like that.
and she
She is
dies
like
like
so weird.
halfway through.
Right, right.
Yeah,
And she is like so weird. And I just think that's gonna be something really special with you. She's just like she's
yeah,
weird, bro. But you can see
yeah.
why he's
That
obviously
movie's
she's
awesome.
so
It kind of
hot.
has
But
some
yeah,
social satire stuff. It has some
yeah,
weird like
yeah,
like fairy tale ish. I don't know what
yeah,
you say like if it's fairy tale, but like they go to the club and there's the old lady who's always been there that nobody dances with or whatever, and
Right.
it's like,
Oh,
yeah, like
it's so good. And I think Bad Brains is in it, actually. If I'm not mistaken, Bad Brains, that go into the East Village, into like what used to be CBGB's. I actually went to one of the last shows at CBGB's. It's like a John Varvatos now or something I talk about progress. But
nice.
CBGB's was this legendary punk rock music venue in the Lower East Side. And yeah.
That's
they
cool
shot on
that
location there. Yeah.
Yeah, because you lived in New York City for a while,
Yeah.
right? That's part of
Yeah. All those places are gone. Coney Island High, CBGB's, the Wetlands. There were these great, just really small music venues. I was into hardcore to them, like hardcore punk, which is funny because I don't listen to it like at all anymore. But I think I saw Sick of It All at CBGB's. It was one of the last shows. Yeah, I think I saw the very last. There's this legendary band, Warzone. I saw the very, very last Warzone show. Like the lead singer got like pneumonia and died 2 weeks later. It's crazy. It's crazy.
Wow. Is your music interest help you find the music for the Band of the Crow trailer? Because that music is amazing.
Oh, yeah. You know what happened?
Internet.
Okay, that comes from my interest in the drug war. Just drugs. I don't like drugs. Like cults and drugs just fascinate me. So the drug war just, I don't know, fascinates me. So I was watching they have these the president of El Salvador has a great, very interesting what's happening in El Salvador. They basically thought they had a very, very big gang problem there. They don't anymore.
Yeah. Because they like arrested anyone with a tattoo, right? I forget the guy's name, but I followed some of that. Tucker Carlson interviewed him and stuff.
Oh, did he? Okay, yeah. And this is just fascinating. This just goes to show how quickly things can change. They were writing these gangsters that they're terrifying. They're all like total psychopaths and murderers and rapists and whatever. But they were writing their doom, literally writing their dooms and scribing it onto their flesh. It just goes to show they felt so invincible at the time. But little did they know, like, that's not a good idea, man. That's not a good idea.
Yeah, they almost got
gang, right? Don't do that.
Yeah, it's like the good guys played a good hand there. Just
right, exactly. And they think of themselves as being, we're so street smart, we're so wise, we're so much better than everyone else. You guys are morons. You're in jail because you're an idiot. Unbelievable. Yeah. What a bunch. You're not in jail for being criminals. You're in jail for being idiots. Yeah. Don't do that. Don't advertise affiliation with a criminal gang with tattoos.
Yeah.
Anyway, I was watching a video of one of these, like, they're basically open air gulags in the middle of the jungle. That's basically what they are. CCOT, I think that's what it's called. Anyway, I was watching a video of them like rounding up these gangsters, and like it was on his Twitter feed. It was this freaking awesome video. They're like locking and loading the freaking 9mm submachine guns. They got the freaking riot shields, and they're humiliated too. They're all stripped down to like their underwear, and they're like head down, and they're all being like crunching like animals. All these like savages being like justice is served, and the music. I was just like, what is this? Oh my God. Did I just find the music for the trailer?
Oh, yeah.
For the Band of the Crow. Like, I'm watching this thing about like Salvadorian gulags. And lo and behold, so I used Shazam to try to find it. And it's cannot find a match. I was just like, oh no, I gotta oh my God. So one last try, I just blasted the volume on it. And like I held my phone right up the speaker, and boom, the song came up. And sure enough, I looked, licensed the music. So I licensed it. And that was that.
Cool. Yeah, that's amazing. Because that's one of the highlights of the trailer.
Thank you.
It's kind of like a filmmaking thing, dude. The animation matches it really well. Did you have the music from the beginning of working on the trailer?
No,
or did it
I didn't. I will never forget seeing Don Coscarelli, who's one of my favorite. Talk about an amazing independent filmmaker. He talked about for Phantasm, going in to listen to the score for Phantasm for the first time. And he said this, I think it's really true. Music makes or breaks a movie. It's extremely important. Important. He said he sat down really nervous. He said the instant he heard the score for Phantasm, he knew it was going to be a hit. Cool. And he said he just had this feeling of like euphoria, like, oh my God, this movie's going to be a hit. He was right. He was 100% right. So no, I looked for a very, very, very long time for the music. I just could not. We tried like, I don't know. We tried like traditional fantasy music. We tried like something. It's just it sounded too Irish or Scots. It was too like fluty. It was like fluty and
Yeah.
farty, and it just didn't work. It just didn't work. The music reminds me. There's this I don't know what you want to call this. Called Hylong. It's this music collective. They do like electroacoustic folk music. It kind of reminds me of that. But if you like the music from the trailer, which I love it too, check out Hylong. They're awesome.
Okay.
Oh,
Cool,
does
yeah.
it really? Similar story with Gladiator? Yeah. Who scored Gladiator? Do you know? I don't even know
Yeah.
who scored it.
But you know what's funny? Gladiator did age really well. And partly, I guess they released a sequel and it's not that great. And
Okay.
that helps. You're like, oh man,
Yeah.
the original, because it like won Best Picture, and I was like, this isn't a Best Picture. At the time, I was like, that movie was good, but it wasn't that good. And then you're like, well, it aged super well. It was, and there are ways where it's a perfect storm. Like Russell Crowe at that age,
Yeah.
being the lead.
I'll
The
have to
music
watch
was
it
good,
again.
Ridley Scott. But
I'll have to watch it again. Yeah. Another one of my favorite soundtracks is the original soundtrack for the original Conan movie.
yeah.
Oh, that's such a good soundtrack. Oh my God.
I can hear
Oh.
a little bit of it. I need to watch it to get that one again.
It
But it's
reminds
like
me of
got
Carl
horns,
Orff.
like
Yeah. Like,
yeah,
reminds me of like the Carmina Burana and Carl Orff. There's a lot of really beautiful 3/3 time in it too. Just dum, ching, ching, dum, ching, ching, ching. It's funny because like if it were just a shade, it almost sounds like polka music in places. It's very Germanic. It's very like, man.
yeah.
Mm.
That's cool. Yeah, I know the 3/4 or whatever is always polka, but you can get away from it. a
Right.
little bit.
Yeah. They use it a lot in metal too, actually. But man, check out that soundtrack. Like, try not deadlifting after listening to that soundtrack. Try
Yeah.
not doing it. Just like I every like 4 lifting weights, I lift from that. It's just like, oh, it never gets old. Never gets old.
Nice. Yeah, I will. I
Yeah.
will check that out.
Yeah.
I try to keep a little flow on new music coming in because that's a lot of what I have in the background while I'm working, and
Yeah.
it'll all get old eventually, or I can cycle back. But I got to find new stuff. So.
Yeah. No, it's great. I've been listening to a lot of neo folk music. Speaking of new, a lot of that stuff is like politically like not good, but I do like the music. Yeah. Totally, Snugs. Totally.
Yeah, you know, I think I might have watched it on the plane to North Carolina for the convention. I watched like the first half of Gladiator 2, and I turned it off.
It wasn't good. It was that bad.
Yeah, it was really stupid.
I'll have to watch the first one. I don't remember it being particularly remarkable, but maybe I don't know.
It's just like, yeah, it's funny.
Okay.
I think you might be right, but then maybe it's just because movies now kind of stink, so it's just better. But it just aged well. It's just like Russell Crowe's a badass in it. It actually has emotion in the plot.
Okay.
It's kind of a simple plot in a good way. Like I think
Yeah.
a lot of stuff today is like not simple in a bad way. Kind of.
No, it 100%. My God, 100%. Yeah.
Yeah.
It's a lack of confidence. It's a sign of a writer who's not confident. Yeah.
Yeah. I still think
My
about
opinion.
like I'll be like, because even my stuff isn't super simple, but I'll try and think of simple stuff. I try and force myself to be simple, and then any ways that it gets not simple, as long as I'm like forcing myself,
Yeah.
then that kind of helps almost. But
No, I think it's great. You know, I think your stories, there's like that scene of the Emperor in Amadeus where he tells Mozart that his opera has too many notes.
yeah,
Mozart's like, I think your stories are just at the right level of complexity that it's the level of complexity that's needed for the story. It's just sort of like Mozart saying, okay, well,
Yeah.
Your Majesty, why don't you tell me which notes you'd like me to remove?
Yeah.
Remove them.
that movie actually is awesome. That's
Yeah.
another one.
Yeah.
That is a all-time classic.
Yeah, it's great. Apparently he won an Oscar and it ruined his career because it was such an over-the-top performance.
That guy, as far as I know, he did like one other movie, and it's
Yeah.
called Slam Dance from the 80s. Have you ever heard of that
Really?
one?
It's so funny. It's so funny.
But that one's fun too. But I feel like that, I don't even know if that's a good movie, but I kind of like it. But it's just like a noir
I'll
LA
see it.
thriller. Yeah.
Slam Dance, huh?
Yeah.
Okay. I'll have to check it out.
But
Yeah.
we can kind of get out of here pretty soon. We'll kind of
All right.
start wrapping up.
Sounds good.
But yeah, Arvid,
Yeah,
thank
good.
you for joining me and talking Band of the Crow. It is
thanks,
inspirational. I feel like this is a shining star of indie comics, a
Thank
good
you.
example. Everything you did was inspirational of how far you went. 9 months for the trailer,
Yeah.
the marketing, the book, the path the book took to become reality, all that stuff.
Thank you, Pear. I appreciate that. Yeah. Yeah, I'm not gonna say it was easy because it really wasn't. We did work hard on it.
Yeah.
Thank you.
And it gets everyone excited for, yeah, just like the next thing, kind of, I guess.
Yeah.
Like part 2 or whatever. But
Thanks. Things are in a slump now. It sucks. I think everyone needs a little good news. I hope that's the band of the crow. I really want to be part of making
yeah,
things, you know,
because yeah, I
better.
feel like I want to say indie golden age, but the money doesn't support it. But the
No.
books feels like the books, especially because going back to like 2017, I feel like the quality of books has really gone up.
Yes.
And you could make like a list of 10 indie books, and they're all pretty great. Slash some like kind of shame the mainstream industry even.
Yeah.
Whatever.
No, 100%. You know, well, also this is what finance guys say. They all say this: you make your money during the bust, not during the boom.
Yeah.
So this is the time. Now is the time to invest for all of us. This is the time when we will all build our fortunes. Not even like financially. I mean, yes, financially, but
yeah, the time to kind of stick to our guns or
right,
whatever.
Right. Yeah.
Because it does kind of feel like things are on the wind. Nobody knows quite what. But
Yeah, indeed.
Wokeness is still around, but
no, and it's not going anywhere. Like I think people have been claiming peak woke has passed for like the past 7,000 years. It's not going anywhere. It's not going anywhere. It's just, that's a false premise. The idea that we've reached peak woke. Yeah. Gonna have to deal with it. Gonna have to live with it.
Yep. Yeah. But and yeah, chat. Thanks for being here, everyone. Snugs. Yeah. Snugs has Summer of Snugs, by the way. Shout out
to
Snugs.
I know.
Everyone
God bless. You know, God bless everyone. It's been intense. It's funny. Like right when I got in, everyone, Michael Bancroft, Alex, Snugs, everyone who like, I don't know. There's a lot of good people too. A lot of good people. Luke, oh my God, Luke's got that great like radio announcer voice too. Anyways,
yeah, I met him at North Carolina.
Yeah, Luke's the best. El mejor, señor. So I've met a lot of great people. There are a lot of jerks and losers and idiots and morons out there, but that's okay because we've met a lot of great people too. Yeah. So yeah.
Snug says, when's the next one? It'll be 2016. It'll be like whatever. A year or a little less, maybe.
Yeah, within a year, we hope to have, it's just, it does take time. And the trailer was like 9 months. We were so far ahead. And then the trailer just like.
Yeah. Really but the trailer's awesome.
Thank you. Yeah, no, it was totally worth it. It was, yeah.
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 Cool.
Yeah. Yeah.
Well, yeah. I always like picking your brain about like Celtic knowledge or all that kind of stuff too. And so we can keep that going in another month or two. Maybe we can stream again.
That'd be great. Let me know too. Anything I can. I would love there to be like, again, I'd just love there to be like a narwhal verse. If we could take the Grail story and just.
Yeah, I think that's not a bad idea. I just gotta keep thinking about it in a good way to tie it all in.
And like maybe just do the story the way you want to do it, and then maybe after the fact you'll find a way. But yeah, I maybe it's not good to like put that pressure on the story right from the start. You should just see if you can grow into it. Kind of like The Hobbit grew into Lord of the Rings. Maybe just see where it takes you. Yeah.
No, I have the Naked Samurai too. I've kind of been working on a little bit of that.
Nice.
So you know what's funny with that is they say I'm not Japanese, so it would never get published. I feel like that's sort of true, even though it's stupid. So I don't even know what to do with it. I was thinking I might like shame editors. I'll
just publish it yourself. I mean, that is an absolutely absurd and ridiculous. I reject these identitarian arguments and rules. I'm not going to subject myself to like lists of rules or requirements or like checklists or tests from anybody. I'm not going. I reject all of those things. I reject those ideas. That's based on a false premise.
Yeah. Me too. It's a false premise. But that's like, I was thinking like that one feels the most like Emperor's New Clothes. Like we all know it's retarded.
Right.
So when is people going to snap out of it or whatever?
Right. Yeah. Right.
Yeah.
Exactly. I refuse to subject myself to that kind of thinking anymore. I'm just not going to do it.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I say, make the book, publish it yourself. It sounds awesome. Yeah, exactly. Purity tests. I reject I reject any and all purity tests. No matter how well intentioned they are. They're all well intentioned, aren't they? It's all for the best. It's all for the greater good. Yeah.
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 All right. Well,
all right.
Thanks everyone for being here. I'm going to click the button here. Arvid, hang out just a second. We can
chat
behind the scenes.
No, sounds good. Yeah, we'll continue our fetching behind the scenes.
All right. I clicked